It is the bad man once again, Bubba Jenkins, who is coming off a victory that I know was especially satisfying for some personal reasons for you as well. Got the decision. I'm sure you would have liked the stoppage, but a win is a win, especially over a rival. So how satisfied were you with that victory, Bubba?
Man, very satisfying. As all my friends and family, the people close to me know, we wanted to get that one back. Even so much as to taking it off my loss record. So I might be 20-5 now because I'm taking that one back. His three rounds was not like my 3 rounds, but we're even, and I want to squash it right there. We see each other again. We start to beef over, but right now we're even, and I'm moving forward.
That's awesome. Did you go in there with any different feel? I mean, I know how hard you've been working and your focus is really on the end prize, not just picking up that victory. But I don't know, did it feel any different going in there thinking, like, I got to get some revenge on this guy?
Absolutely. It's a grudge match. Of course you're thinking about the million. Of course you're thinking about the championship that I just recently let slip away in a sense. So, that's the end goal. But the task at hand, and to start the season off, PFL season off with that type of opponent, that type of mountain to climb, was, it wasn't advantageous for me. It was definitely like, hey, bub, here you go again with PFL giving you whatever they want to give you, I suppose. But we just take it in stride where we are, or we feel like we're one of the best fighters in the weight class. So it doesn't really matter when they match me up with, who they match me up with. I'm not gonna get anything favored or given to me. So we're just here to take it all.
Certainly was a tough matchup to start out with. We know your second matchup as well, Joe Sung Bin. Talk to me. What do you know about him? Are you breaking down tape? You let your coaches do that? What are your thoughts?
Man, I'm so in between with the Joe Sung Bin thing. Like, first of all, didn't he not make it out of the first round? How is he competing? How is he competing at all when we have the alternates that we have? Didn't the alternate that we had for him win? Like, I thought I was fighting that guy or somebody. I don't. I'm really confused as to how it all goes down, and because I'm one that is always available. I'm one that always wins in the regular season. I have yet to take a regular season loss. I have yet to not been able to show up and not be prepared. Shit, I've yet to say that I've maybe even lost a regular season round. But to be real with you, it gets a little bit deterring. I don't care about the opponent. They change the opponents all the time. I was supposed to fight so many different opponents in this PFL or run in the organization that it doesn't really matter. But I do want to know where Sung Bin Joe is coming from, and what is to happen with my situation if Sung Bin Joe does what he's kind of been known to do, or have had a history of doing, and that's not being able to fight, because I was already supposed to fight Sung Bin Joe maybe last year or the year before, and then he couldn't do that, and then I watched him weigh in this past April 1st and also not show up to the fight again. So I don't want there to be a situation where my future's in jeopardy, or my next fight happens to be, a guy that they told yesterday, or a guy they told, me 2 days ago that I'm fighting, and he happens to be, the best ex UFC fighter that there is. My situations haven't gone as smooth as you would think, or as my personality and demeanor would allow you to believe. I just take it in stride, and I keep pushing forward, because that's what life has been for me. But if I wanted a silver platter, or things to be red and smooth, I would not be happy. But I don't know nothing about Sun Bin Joe. No one does, because no one has seen anything from him in years. So I guess I have another unknown fighter. So.
It's interesting because all the points you bring up are valid. Like, it's not like you're just complaining to complain. I mean, you bring up some very legitimate concerns about how this could directly impact you. So did you say anything to them? I know you'll take whatever fight you get, but did you at least say something to him? Like, hey, what if this guy doesn't show up and I can't fight, and maybe that affects my ability to make the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. That's very real concerns.
I haven't been able to say anything to anyone. I'm just finding out there's a couple of guys that failed the drug test, or failed their tests on the April 1st, and some things are shaking loose from that. And one day I was supposed to fight a 5'8" Brazilian guy. Next day I'm fighting 6'1" Korean guy. So it is what it is. I'm the best fighter in the weight class. I felt like that. Brandon did a good job in the fight that we had, to walk away with the victory. No disrespect to him and how he feels. It's him and Mavli, but I'm bad man. It's bad man things. I'm be as humbly confident as I possibly can when I say that it's me versus me, and these guys are going to be in for a rude awakening if they're looking for anything other than the best me.
I love it, man. You've gone through this before. Obviously, we hear a lot, man, what a grind it is, these 4 fights, and then to turn around and do it again. So I guess what's the approach that you learned? Sounds like you were just at the gym earlier today, so I don't guess you're taking your foot off the gas. I mean, is rest more of a key, or is it, keep the grind high and stay ready? Like, what's your approach to this season-long grind that you got to keep yourself ready for?
It's all about the mentality, man. You got to have the right mentality because the body's going to break down on you. Body's going to feel good. It's going to feel bad. It's going to, going through the wars and you're pushing it to prepare it for, the best fight ever. You're preparing for a 3-round war. You hope you land every punch and you hope every takedown is smooth and, but Dewey prepares you against the best fighter in the world. The guy who you're fighting has the best kicks. He has the most power. He has the best conditioning. We do a thing called the shark drill where you get the best grapplers in the room, you get the best strikers in the room, and you switch off on them 1 minute at a time. And so you get a really good striker for 1 minute, then you stop, and you get a really good wrestler for 1 minute, then they stop, you get a really good boxer. So Dewey pretty much builds the perfect opponent against you, and it's you versus 4 or 5 other guys in the gym, and it's like that for 3 rounds. So you're preparing yourself for the worst possible night that you could possibly have, and you're praying for a better outcome. So when it comes to the rigorous schedule, and it's all about mentality. You just got to have your mind right, because no matter how you feel, it's all about what you do. I don't care how I felt in the first round versus Palmer, or how I felt versus Bobby Moffitt, or it's about what the results were and what we did. So that's where I teach my babies. It ain't what you do, it ain't what you feel, it's what you do.
That's awesome. That's a great message. Do you let yourself think about potential matchups at all? I mean, obviously you don't impact it all, right? The points dictate who's fighting who next. There's no politics, but do you look at, well, I kind of hope I end up with this guy? Is it, I want to see Brennan again?
There's no politics in the playoffs, but there's politics leading up to the regular season. So I guess, guys are getting matchups that I'm just like, how does if they're just drawing out of the hat, that's a really, like you said, I had Wade in the first round, that's a and then they give, I don't want to say anything about the other matchups, all right? So I'm just saying they have never made it easy for me. And if short notice, Lord, it doesn't matter. I've always been ready. I've always been prepared. You have never seen me not take a fight. You've never seen me not make weight or not been prepared. I don't really care about the matchups. I think that Lockney would have a much harder time beating me in 3 rounds than he did in the 5 rounds. If I look back on that tape, I think the 3 rounds and they go my way. Although we didn't get the wrestling off, we weren't really forcing it. We were just like, if we get it, we get it. We don't. But, I stood in the middle of that cage with a battered leg, and I did the best of him of what he could do. I turned into a striker because I was fighting a striker, letting, the world know if this is what you want of me, then this is what you'll get. So, I fought Chris Wade on the wrestling understanding, like, oh, this guy's a wrestler. Well, this guy, if this is what you want of me, this is what you'll get. So, there are times where I pridefully, maybe wrongfully, go out there and say, oh, this is your guy. This is what he does. Okay, let me show you that I can do this as well. But, I think that Mavled's matchup would be a really bad one for Mavled. I guess people can say, oh, Mom was going to take you down and maul you like I guess Wade did to me the first time. But we all know that wasn't the right, bad man in that cage. So if Mavled ever in his life ever thinks that he's just going to be able to take me down and maul me, he better wake up and slap everybody in the room for letting him dream that shit, because he in a real rude awakening for that thing. And if he thinks he can outstrike me, I think he does a good job of staying silent with me, not saying too much about me, not saying too much to me or around me. I think he does a good job of being inconspicuous and out of the way, out of sight, out of mind. And I guess the only time you put him on your mind is, when it's time to fight. And I guess that would be too late. So I'm always thinking about the Moblet matchup. And of course, who doesn't want the revenge match of the $1 million championship that I lost? So of course, those are matches I'm thinking of, but nobody else, and for no other reason than the fact that I've watched them fight. And even though I can say Mavlin and Loughnane are where they are, is because they're champions, not because I've seen them fight and been like, oh, that's going to be tough. I've seen them fight and I've been like, you know what? They better not show up like that against me, kind of thing, So I'm excited about where I am in the bracket. I'm excited about, the victory that I just came off of. We didn't take too much time to celebrate. We're right back into preparation. I do feel like I should be at the top of the bracket with the quick 6. There's a couple things that happened in that fight that I feel like, wouldn't have allowed him to stay off 15 minutes because there were things that showed that he could not last. But that's neither here nor there. I'll ask PFL for my points when they send me my check.
I love it, man. Focused in on the ultimate prize and just a little chip on the shoulder there to kind of get you for that extra motive.
I'm not me if I don't have a little something to say or a little bit of, a little get back. I'm not the fighter that I'm not the bad man if I'm not being bad man.
I love it. I love it. That's what we love about you, man. Well, June 8th, ESPN Plus. It's out in Atlanta. You'll take another step toward the playoffs and then some potentially really, really good matchups on your way to $1 million prize.
Am I on the prelims again?
I didn't want to say anything. It's not the pre. They say there is no prelims on. That's their thing. There is no prelims. You're on the lead card, sir. You're on the lead card.
Does that even make sense to you? as a journalist, as like someone who's been in the game, seeing someone like myself fight, I don't understand if they're trying to not build me or if they are trying to build me and trying to hush my I don't know. I really don't know. I think I've had to ask twice to be put on the main card.
Well, maybe you can ask again. I mean, we'll see how it shakes out. I don't understand it. I'd like to have you on the featured card if I'm being honest, but who knows? I don't.
Yeah,
I'm just a lowly journalist here.
Because all these wonderful UFC guys are putting on such amazing shows. They're doing all the UFC guys. They're what? What's their record at the PFL?
They've had some bad ones.
2 and freaking 13, and we gotta make sure they're on the main card.
And so, just like that, another chip on the shoulder right there. I like it.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see
how it goes.
Check me out on June 8th. Follow me on my Instagram because that's, I guess, the only way you're gonna see me fight.
Bubba Jenkins, everybody.